Okay, wow. Yeah, I got featured on the Australian Financial Review, which is pretty awesome. But in this video, we're going to talk a bit about that and exactly how that came about and what the article is actually about. So in a previous video, I did say that I wanted to actually disclose where my other money is outside of real estate. So in this video, as you can probably guess by the title, you know where a large sum of my money is, and I'm going to explain exactly why in this video. Hey guys, my name is Ravi Sharma and I'm the founder and buyer's agent here at Search Property. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode of Search Property TV. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button. If you're not new here, then you can just give me a thumbs up because the YouTube algorithm really needs to push these videos out to the people that need it. Now, before we jump into today's video, a quick reminder, the pre-launch offer for the online course, Confusion to Clarity, is still available, but they are selling out quickly. So we are enrolling only 100 students as part of the pre-launch. So the pre-launch is $397, whereas the main launch, which will be obviously after the pre-launch, is going to be $897. So if you want to save 500 bucks, definitely go head down to the link in the description below. You can download the syllabus. You know exactly what we're going to talk about in this course. There's more than 3 hours of exclusive content, so don't miss out. It's going to give you an unfair advantage moving into 2021 to actually go out there and purchase investments and purchase your first home in Australia. So I definitely urge you to do that. But now onto the video. So one of my goals actually this year was to get into the mainstream media in some way or form. And that could be about investing, somewhere related to my property investing, but I didn't really know how I was going to push it. And of course, the last couple of months on YouTube has been awesome. So I actually just focused on, presenting good content to you guys, keeping my head down and doing the work itself to get the job done. However, this came out of the blue and I'm super grateful for it to come about because it's actually something quite close to my heart, and it lined up perfectly with the fact that I wanted to disclose exactly what I'm investing in outside of my real estate portfolio. So let's jump into a few bits and pieces in the article. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, but I'm going to pick out little bits, talk to you about it, as well as my reasons for investing in Pokemon cards and what I think is going to happen next year. So at 22, Ravi Sharma's dad warned him to stop buying so much dumb shit. It's true. I've actually said this in a video where I talk about my first property experience. So you should definitely go check out that video. I, much like yourselves, was in a position where I really didn't know anything about property. I didn't have YouTubers to follow. I didn't have a bunch of podcasts to actually listen to. So I just had to find my way through it. But before that, I was buying a lot of stuff online. You should definitely check out my first experience because it's so different to how I talk about property today. Now 28, Sydney-based Sharma's youthful penchant for pursuing questionable purchases has come full circle. He is part of a growing cohort who think that Pokemon card market is oh so hot right now and has bought $32,000 worth of cards this year. Wow, okay, so suddenly you've gone from, this guy seems pretty switched on about property, but he's spending $32,000 on Pokemon cards. Like, we're literally talking about cardboard that we used to play back in school, right? So what's the mentality around this? What are we thinking here? So what happened was, I obviously played as a little kid. I was playing in, schoolyards, and we were playing Pokemon cards, and a lot of the cards that we have back then, about now 20 odd years ago that they came out, and we used to play with them, and so the condition was really bad, and I actually gave away my cards to my cousin, and then he actually donated them to, I think it was Salvation Army or something, right? So we didn't have those cards, but suddenly in the last sort of 2-3 years, there's been a few prominent names that started talking about Pokemon cards and how there is some value to those. And I'm sure you've seen those articles or you've seen something on Facebook pop up and you're like, that's funny. Like, why would someone pay $200,000-$300,000 for one card? Now, that's where I had sort of my understanding as well with it. I had this nostalgia linked with it, but I didn't really invest any money into it. I didn't have any Pokemon cards. I just sort of loved the thought of it actually growing. And so I wasn't really looking into it until earlier this year when someone that I really look up to, Gary Vaynerchuk, actually started talking about it. And it got me thinking because I had seen his content around how for the last year or so, he's actually been really bullish on baseball cards. And we've all seen what happened with baseball cards. It was just shooting up. Now there's multiple cards available that are baseball cards that are actually worth more than $1 million. I know, it's weird, but if this is the first time you're sort of entering into this world, it seems bizarre. And it almost seems like you almost want to pause this video and see if you still have those Pokemon cards. Now, this is something else that I'm willing to help. I definitely love the community. I love everyone that watches my channel especially. So if you do need some help, you do have some Pokemon cards, feel free to drop me an email or comment down below exactly what you have, or want to actually talk about what the sort of value would be with that, because you could be sitting on $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of Pokemon cards. You could actually do a lot more with that money than have it sit in Pokemon cards. So if that is something that you're interested in, drop me an email. I love talking about this stuff. This is like my hobby outside of real estate. If there is anything else I'm watching right now on YouTube, it's about Pokemon cards. So definitely hit me up about that. So, okay, we know how much I've spent, $32,000. Let's just let that sink in. For most people, that's a deposit. Well, not most people, like even for me, would be a deposit on a house. With borrowing money, you need to have 2-year full financials for your business in order to actually go and purchase property and apply for a loan. So I actually have to wait till next year. And in a video that I'll bring out in the next couple of weeks will be what I'm actually investing in 2021. So if you're interested, drop me a comment and I'll definitely make that video for you guys. But $32,000 is not a small amount. It's not money that I can just, sort of throw away. And it was definitely not something that I wanted to throw away on something like Pokemon cards. So what I did was I started researching, and I did so much research, you do not understand. Like all weekends, I was just looking into it. Now, obviously for me, there was that emotional attachment of that nostalgia coming back to me from 20 years ago, and cards that I couldn't actually obtain myself back then. And back then, you'd have to pull out certain cards from packets, and if you got them, you were awesome. And if you didn't, which was mostly the case with rare cards, that's where the real value is in the market currently. You might be wondering now, how much is it worth now, Ravi? Like, are we talking about $200,000-$300,000? No, we're definitely not talking about that. I've only actually been investing for 3 months, and I've been investing very strategically. So I've diversified my risk across, sealed products, Japanese products, English products, both vintage and modern. So there's a bit of everything, and this is how I approach real estate. Going after the most expensive properties is the way to go because your cash flow is really tied up in that, and you've now got all your risk in these one sort of asset. What I like to do is have a little bit everywhere, and if you've bought strategically, it's all a percentages game, right? So it's not about going, hey, I'm gonna buy a card worth $50,000 and it goes up to $60,000. Oh my God, I made $10,000. The way that I've approached it is that I'd rather have a couple of products in the thousands or $2,000 worth, and they actually happen to go up to $4,000, $5,000, that's actually 100% increase. So that's my mentality when I go in and purchase my foundational properties as well. Trust me to bring in Pokemon cards into the property investing world, but that's essentially how it is, right? So that's how I've approached it. And in the matter of 3 months, I've gone into research and to actually execute. So something that I know that I do really well at is actually understanding something and executing straight away. Similar to this YouTube channel, similar to this brand itself, I go out there and I do it very quick. I move very fast. And so with Pokemon cards, I saw the opportunity and I've definitely jumped in. The value of my Pokemon cards portfolio is now $50,000. Wow, that's actually a 60% increase in my initial investment, which is awesome. Now, keeping in mind, last month, only a few weeks ago, it was worth about $60,000 to $65,000. So the market has corrected itself, and that's because leading into Christmas, a lot of people, first-time investors were going in and they're thinking, oh my God, this can never fail. Very bubble-esque type investing. I don't even know if that's a word, but basically investing in something that looks like a bubble. And so people were sort of coming up to me and saying, Ravi, don't put any more into this because it's a bubble, it's going to explode. And I'm like, okay, I understand a lot more than you in this space. So contextually, we need to understand why they're saying that. And if someone came to me and said, hey, look, I'm investing $100,000 into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I'd probably say the same thing. But because I don't understand enough about it, I actually need to either research or keep my mouth shut. But essentially with property, that's all that people say, is because they seem to have a house or they rent a house and they know how it works. They're like, oh, here's my 2 cents of opinion. But it really doesn't matter unless they contextually understand the mechanics of of it. So with Pokemon cards, I invested $32,000. It's now worth $50,000. So I've made $18,000 in the last 2 to 3 months. Now that's an awesome return, and the way that I've approached it is not that I want to go and flip them now because I could make a really nice profit. It's actually to hold it long term. Now, what I talk about long term, I actually mean 5, 10 years plus. The reason for this, and I'm trying to get as much as I can right now, is because next year is massive for Pokemon. So 2021 is massive for Pokemon cards. And so if you have Pokemon cards, you need to understand which ones you have and how you can actually strategically place yourself so you optimize your portfolio and you're able to go in and take advantage next year. Again, if you need any help with this, I've done a lot of research. So, let's put it to good use. If you want to email me, we can have a chat offline about what you have, what you want to do with it, and we can talk about Pokemon cards. I don't just talk about real estate. Come on, I've got a life, right? So apart from Pokemon cards, what else am I investing in? Now, currently, and I've said this in previous videos, I actually hold 0 in shares. Now, I don't hold anything in shares. I did have a holding last year, and thankfully I sold just before everything sort of went down. But earlier this year, when everything dipped, the market just collapsed really around that March time. I wanted to put more money in. I was actually transacting on a couple of properties, so I definitely took that option because that's always going to be my number one priority and preference when I'm investing in assets. But now I'm looking at 2021 and investing and diversifying. But I do have a holding outside of shares. So I've got Pokemon cards, which would be collectibles, and I've got property, I've got quite a bit of property. I invested into cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of people here, again, may be saying, oh, this guy's an idiot, like he thought Bitcoin was gonna go up, I bet he's lost a lot of money and whatnot, right? So I've invested quite a bit into it, and I've invested $40,000. Now, my current holding is about $40,000. Over the time, I've been dollar cost averaging, so whenever the market's dipped, I've sort of bought a little bit more to offset the initial crashes that had happened, or corrections really. So I've pretty much evened out, but what I'm really proud of is the fact I've held onto the asset. So $40,000 in cryptocurrency, we've got $50,000 in Pokemon cards, and I'm really trying to grow both portfolios in 2021. Again, if you want a detailed video about my financial goals and what I'm looking at doing next year with investing outside of real estate, let me know. I can definitely talk a lot more about that, and I can get the right people on for, talking about cryptocurrency or shares. In terms of Pokemon cards, if you guys want more videos around why 2021 is massive for Pokemon cards, then definitely let me know in a comment down below. As you can tell, you can't wipe the smile off my face. If there's anything else apart from real estate I want to talk about, it's Pokemon cards. So definitely let me know. I would love to make a video about it, but I only want to bring you value. As I've said before, I don't want to waste your time. I do appreciate you being here. Now, before you head off and turn off this video thinking, wow, okay, I better go look for those Pokemon cards, I just want to remind you again of something. So with the online course, I really want you to take advantage of it. If you love watching the content that I bring out on YouTube, think about that on steroids. It's so good when it comes to the online course. I'm honestly so eager to share this with you guys because I know the content can really take someone from not knowing anything about property to being in a position where they're actually going to be better than 99% of people in the market. Now, that's an unfair advantage when it comes to buying real estate, and you might not be even ready to buy real estate now, but having the skills and learning and developing those things like where to research and how to do it will really set you up in the coming year to go, I know exactly what to do and how to target this with my goals in mind. So definitely take advantage of that. Hopefully when you're watching this, the pre-launch offer is still available. If it's not, you can still get it at a steal at $897 full price. That is actually unbelievably low. So I know in 2021, it's actually gonna go higher than that. So if you haven't bought already, I definitely urge you to. And that's it, guys. That's the video. I got featured in the AFR. I'm really happy. It ends 2020 on such a positive note for me. I've also been able to speak to you guys about Pokemon cards. I'm super happy about that. And of course, it all comes down to you guys having a break. This is a great time to just spend time with family and friends, relax, but also start getting the planning and the goals ready for next year. I'm gonna make so much more content around goal planning and goal setting. So if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop me a like for the video for my stupidity in investing into Pokemon cards, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.